Okay, we're on finals now. We're left of centre line, but we are flying in balance. We're at about 85 knots. We've got a touch of flap down. The reason I'm flying like this is I'm just going to turn left, line us up with the centre line in terms of the actual line, and then what you'll see is we are drifting left to right. So I'm going to put full flap down now and just get us going down a little bit further. Now, there's two things we can do in terms of let's just catch that wind there. There's two things we can do in terms of maintaining centre line. There's two techniques. One is known as the wing down technique, and the other one is known as the crab technique. So the crab technique, as we come in, I'll be able to demonstrate fairly straightforward. We've still got quite a bit of airspeed on because of the wind. Now the crab technique, same sort of thing as we used when we took off really. What we do is to position the nose out to the left of the airfield. Okay, and what's going to happen is, in effect, is the wind is blowing from left to right, but we're pointing to the left, so we will as a result maintain centre line. As I say, it's about 25 knot wind. I'll have to ignore that traffic, but you can see we're actually aimed to the left of the runway, but we are drifting ever so slightly right, and the knock-on effect of that is actually when we then get to the touchdown point, we're going to have to kick the nose straight. So we're coming in nicely. We're getting one red there. We've got 70 knots. We want to keep a little bit of speed because of the wind. It gives us a slightly better control as we come in. We're slightly left of centre line, which actually helps because we know the wind is going to try and blow us from the left to the right. So closing the throttle now. The rudder loses a bit of authority, and what we've now got to do is kick ourselves straight. And there we go, we're down on the ground. We've got the weathercock effect, so we've now got to put in right rudder to try and counter that. A little bit of a skid, but nothing too serious. So that's us down, fairly safe. You can still see we've got a bit of a weathercock effect, and we're trying to regain our centre line. And hopefully that helps with seeing the crab effect. I'll see you guys in a moment for the wing down technique. What we're going to do now is we're just going to try it with what's called the wing down technique. And as you can see, I'm just gradually in a curved approach onto finals. 80 knots. I'm just going to reduce the speed slightly, bring us back towards 70, and we are slightly high, which at the moment isn't a problem. I'm just going to take full flat now. Now, one of the things with a wing down approach is that we have to fly what's called a cross-coupled, uncoordinated approach. Now, we're drifting from the left to the right, nothing untoward there. We were expecting that. Let's just maintain our 70 knots now. So what we've got to do now is we've got to stop that drift, and the way we stop that drift is to bank to the left. Now obviously the aircraft wants to then turn left, so we have to counter that by using our right rudder. Now I've upped the crosswind now to 35 knots, so it's a fairly stiff crosswind. Most light aircraft would expect to be running out of rudder authority about 20 to 25 knots. Now when I say rudder authority, it's quite important. The reason being is that once it's up against the stops, you've got no more rudder available. Now we've got our left wing down and our right rudder fed in, so as a knock-on effect of that, we can only go so far down with our left wing before we run out of rudder. A key important point here is the airflow effect from the propeller. The airflow from the propeller feeds back and it goes directly over the rudder. So the more power we have on the engine, the faster the airflow is going backwards, the more authority our rudder has. So we're down to about 60 knots here. We've got full flat. We're a little bit high, but we're not so bothered because we're not an airliner. So you can see I've got the left wing down and I've got a lot of right rudder fed in. In fact, I'm now fully up against my rudder stop. I've got no rudder left to play with. And I know if I take power off, that rudder is going to be less effective. So I've got to be very careful now. Still descending, still got my left wing down slightly to counter the drift. The drift's coming in a little bit more now, so I've got to be careful now because I'm going to start taking power off in order to land. Just try and get ourselves back on centre line, and as I do so, my rudder's going to run out of authority and the aircraft's going to want to turn to the left. So what we can try and do is see if we can do a single wheel landing, which will be the left wheel. No, come on, come on. Here we go. So we've got one wheel down and then the rest of the aircraft follows. Okay, and don't forget it's going to want to weathercock back into the left, particularly with a 35 knot wind. But there we go, we're down and just about straight on the runway, and I hope you enjoyed that little part of it.